Hi, Saints. I pray and I hope you're doing well, and by God's grace, pressing into the things of the Lord. Okay, so 2 weeks back, I shared something during our Friday meeting, which I believe is an historical thing that's happening in our time, and I wanted to invite those who couldn't make it, to participate in it. So I'm going to share just pretty much a briefly, like summary of what I shared there, and the hope is that for all of you to participate because I think this is a once in a generation thing that the Lord is doing our time and we don't want it to pass us by. Okay, so let me start from Jude. So Jude chapter 1, 3. So Jude said, I felt compelled to urge you to contend for the faith that was once for all entrusted with God to God's people. So he said that this faith was entrusted to God's holy people. Now, if this faith has been entrusted to us, then it means that it did not start with us. Like it's not like our personal faith. So the question is, what is this faith and where did it begin from? Now we go to Hebrews. Hebrews 11 says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. So simply saying, faith is the things that we believe for, we don't see it. We hope for it. Now, hope for believers, obviously, our hope is in the promises of God and who He is. So we don't see it yet. We hope for it, believing that He will bring it to pass. So that is faith. Verse 2 says, by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. So pretty much saying that God created the world from the invisible to the visible. And I love what Paul says in Romans 4:17. It was like God is the one that called things that are not as if they were. So God called things like the things that he hopes for, He calls them into being. He waits for them, right? Because they are not. He called them to be, waits for them until they come to pass. So if you think about it, God calls us to walk in faith because He walks in faith. So the faith that Jude said we should contend for is actually the faith of God. It is God's faith. Like what God has been believing for from the beginning is now He's inviting us to believe with Him. He's inviting us into His faith to believe with Him until they come to fulfillment. And this is what the forefathers of old were all commended for. In fact, according to Hebrews, none of the forefathers received the promise, the things that were promised them, but only together with us. Now, for us, if us being like the generation in which the end of the age will come, it's only then will they receive their promise in full. Why? It's because at the end of the age is when God's desire, the things that God has been believed for, would have come to pass in fullness, and then they will receive their promise. Why? Because their promise is tied into what God is believing has been believing for. So let's take Abraham for example. Abraham was chilling, and then God came to him and like, "Hey, Abe, leave your father's household, go to a place I'll show you, and I'll bless you, and through you, a blessings will come to the whole nations of the earth." Right now, blessing come to the whole nation of the earth is God's desire. It's literally that's what God has been desiring for. His desire was to bring the whole world back to Him. And Abraham was invited to believe with God, and Abraham believed God, and so Abraham took on God's faith. So God's faith became Abraham's faith. He trusted in that, and that hope was now passed on from generation to generation until now. Now Jesus says something very interesting in Luke 18. So Luke 18, 1 to 8 is the parable of the persistent widow. And I'm not going to read through that, but the parable goes that this widow was asking for justice from this judge, and the judge refused it. But finally, the judge gave in because of the widow's persistence. And Jesus was like, now listen to the unjust judge. If the judge will give justice to this widow because of her persistence, how much more will God, who is just, give justice to those who cry out to Him day and night for justice? And then he asked this question at the end. It said, now, when the Son of Man returns, will he find faith on the earth? And I believe when he says, will he find faith, he's talking about the faith of God. So when he returns, will he find a people who are in agreement with the purposes of God according to what God has been believing for from the beginning? Will he find a people who are in agreement with the Lord according to his plan and not seeking their own justice, not seeking their own desires, but actually tie in and believing for what the Lord is believing for in their time, especially at the end of the age? And this is where I want to tie in with what I believe the Lord is doing, like what is initiated right now in our time. So, a few weeks back, I asked the Lord for burning bush encounter. Unfortunately, I can't go into the whole thing, but the Lord brought Ahab Casey, and it's a very important event that happened to Ahab Casey. And not knowing that very same day when I asked for the burning bush encounter, Ahab Casey is planning for 21 days fast and prayer for Israel because of the event that God brought to mind. Now, again, I can't go into this, but 21 days. Ahab Casey now they made it public now, and interestingly, like I think the first 10 days since they made it public now, it's over 1 million believers has come in agreement that yes, we're gonna fast and pray for Israel. Now, 21 days fasting for the salvation of Israel and also for raising up intercessors who will contend for the salvation for the purpose of Israel. And I think this is what's happening now time that we got to play a part, because I'm more than convinced it's like it's biblical, and I promise you this, God is in this. This is something that God has initiated in our time that we are going to participate to bring the desires of God, his people, the people of Israel, for them to come to salvation. First of all, more than that, because them come to salvation plays into the path. Remember, what God has been believing for, he has a plan. There's a plan that goes according to his beliefs, that it will come to fruition. And Israel is a key part of God's plan. And 1 million people, over 1 million people contending for that is like wow. And it's like you cannot miss this, because anyway, I'm praying that we are going to go deep into all of that, into why Israel why Israel being a key in God's end time purposes. Anyway, but so from May 7th to May 28th is when the fast is happening, and obviously, people all around the globe, believers around the globe are participating in this, and I want to invite you to participate with this, because this, I believe, is a key. This will mark something. This will initiate something. This will, I mean, I don't know exactly what it will bring, but all I know is that this is God initiated event, and you cannot miss it. Not in our time, not in this time. And so, like I said, it's happening. I mean, many people are participating in this. There's a website called Isaiah62fast.com, which I and many other ministries have come together to create. And we're going to form a hub, and many hubs are doing this anyway. So I just want to invite you to this, and I'll be giving more details. But just be aware that 21 days fast for Israel, for salvation of Israel, and for intercessors from Isaiah 62. And I'm putting it out for you guys. If you don't know it yet, now you do. Seek more information. Isaiah62fast.com. We have more information, and get in touch with me, because we are planning to have a hub. Or at least with my house of prayer, we're gonna have a hub in which we're gonna be praying for. I don't know the details yet, but for now it looks like 1 hour, at least 1 hour a day, from May 7th to May 28th, praying for salvation of Israel and its purposes. So this is the invitation, and I really hope you pray about it and see if the Lord is in this. Well, I know it is. That's just me. I don't know about you, but yes. So this one, I want to give an invitation for everyone to participate. Isaiah62fast.com. Check out for more information. Get in touch with me if you are around us. Join us in our hub, as we contend for the faith that has been entrusted to us. Maranatha. God bless you.